Ever find yourself apologizing when someone else bumps into you? Or you say sorry right before you ask a totally normal question? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of why so many of us do this, and let me tell you, the answer is probably not what you think.
Yeah, if you've ever felt like you're apologizing just for, existing, then this is for you. This little habit, it's not just some weird quirk. It's actually a clue, and it points to something way, way deeper.
So here's a thought. What if that constant urge to say sorry isn't a flaw? What if it's not proof that you're weak or insecure, but instead, it's historical evidence, like a fossil from your past, telling this incredible story about how you learned to survive?
Okay, so to really get this, we gotta clear the air on a few things first. We tend to slap some familiar labels on this behavior, but honestly, they don't really get to the root of it.
You know the usual suspects, right? Anxiety, low self-esteem, people-pleasing. And look, these labels aren't wrong. They definitely describe what it feels like, but they're just symptoms, not the actual cause. They tell us what's happening, but they don't explain why.
Here's a great way to think about it. Saying you over-apologize because of anxiety is kind of like saying you limp because your leg hurts. Yeah, it's true, but it doesn't tell you how your leg got hurt in the first place, right? To really understand this apology reflex, we have to dig a lot deeper than just the anxiety. So if it's not those things, what is it? Well, the real source isn't some glitch in your system. It's not a bad habit you picked up. It's actually a highly sophisticated communication system, one that you designed when you were very young for a very, very specific reason. We're talking about something called the preemptive apology, and what it is, it's a strategy you built to solve a huge problem. How do I stay connected to the people I need when just having my own feelings feels like it puts that connection in danger? And this right here is so, so important to get. This system is not who you are. It's not some fixed part of your personality. It is simply evidence of your history, of what you went through and how brilliantly you adapted to survive it. So, to really understand this system, we have to go back. We have to visit the place where it was first built, and we have to recognize the absolute brilliance of the child who designed it. Because here's the thing, this system, it usually doesn't come from homes with really obvious big T trauma. It often grows in homes that, from the outside, looked perfectly fine. There was food on the table, a roof over your head, everything seemed okay. But inside, the emotional world was a desert. In a home like that, your feelings, they weren't necessarily punished. They were just inconvenient. They were invisible, something to be managed or tidied away, not something to be seen or understood. And as a kid, you are a genius at reading the room. You pick up on everything, and you learned, probably without a single word ever being said, that to keep the peace, to keep that connection, the safest way to be was to be smaller. So that's what the apology was really saying deep down. I know I'm a lot. I'm sorry in advance, just please don't go. It wasn't about being guilty. It was a heartbreakingly brilliant strategy to stay attached. It was a child doing the smartest thing they could to survive.
Okay, but here's the catch, right? That amazing survival system you built as a kid, it's still running. It's like old software trying to run on a brand new computer. It's a lesson playing on a loop, long after you've left the classroom. So I want you to really think about this. Today, right now, when that sorry just pops out of your mouth for no good reason, what's it actually saying underneath it all? It's sending all these unspoken messages, isn't it? Things like, hey, I know my need is probably an inconvenience, or I'm just going to apologize now to head off your irritation. Every sorry becomes this little bid for permission to even be in the room, like you're paying a toll to keep the connection alive. I'm going to say this again because it is so important. This is not a character flaw. It is simply a survival lesson that's past its expiration date. The work isn't to be mad at yourself for learning it, but to gently help that part of you realize it's safe now. So, what do? How do you possibly interrupt a loop that's been running your whole life? Well, the answer starts with something really simple but incredibly powerful. Just noticing. And I'm sure you've tried this, right? You've told yourself, okay, that's it. I'm just going to stop apologizing so much. And it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't. You're trying to fight a lightning-fast reflex with a slow, conscious thought. The reflex is always going to win that race. So let's try a completely different approach. Instead of fighting it, we're going to do something much quieter and way more powerful. Don't even try to stop the apology. Let it happen. But then, a second later, just notice that you did it.
and say to yourself with zero judgment, ah, there's the lesson. Okay, this sounds way too simple, I know, but it is a game changer. Why? Because the second you notice the pattern, you're not inside it anymore. You are watching it. And in that tiny little gap between the action and your awareness, that's where all the change happens.
And every single time you do that, you're teaching yourself something profound. You're reminding yourself, hey, I'm not that kid in that room anymore. I'm the adult who can see what happened, who can understand why that system was built, and who knows the danger has passed. So please, walk away with this. You are not broken. You're just fluent in a language you never even chose to learn. And the fact that this pattern is so strong, that's just proof of what an incredible survivor you are. So the real question becomes, now that you're safe, what new language do you want to start speaking?